the 2014 playoff thing is set, all right? So there's a lot of teams that I think are happy that it went to 12 teams in each conference. Clearly Montreal, Chicago would be included in that, Arizona, maybe the Leafs, because it's like we don't have to worry about it, we're in. But who has the right to be the most upset, most rattled with the fact that the regular season is officially over and it's a 24-team playoff format? 1 through 3. Doesn't even have to be in any particular order.
Right.
But who wants to start this party off?
Pooley, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
Go ahead, Jamie. I'll jump in.
Okay. I'm gonna start off with the Boston Bruins. And Hayes, you've made a case for this the last 3 or 4 days. The Bruins were rolling. They were going to win the President's Trophy, and now all of a sudden you're like in a chance to be reseeded. Like, you should have had home ice right through the playoffs. You get a bye, but if it doesn't go well in that bye, all of a sudden your matchup changes. So I think the Bruins should be pissed. Tampa's another team that I think was really rolling, and they're looking, and I know they were pissed at the format. They may be looking at their matchup and saying, I don't like it. And if it was only 16 teams, we'd be looking at something different. And the other one, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I'm looking at Calgary. That Calgary-Winnipeg, one of those teams is going home, and to me, both of those teams are really strong teams. And when you look at all the matchups, in the play-in, I think Calgary-Winnipeg is one of the toughest. That's legitimately a coin flip.
Okay, I like it. 1 through 3. Pooley, what you got?
That was one I clearly looked at, was the Winnipeg one. But I went along the similar lines for my number one, Carolina. And, they draw the New York Rangers, who they were 0-4 against this year, but then they say they don't like it. Don't say you don't like it. Why would you say you don't want to play the Rangers? I mean, don't tell everybody you don't like it. I mean, that to me made no sense at all. They didn't have a real legitimate reason for voting against it other than they didn't like their matchup. And by the way, I don't like their matchup either. I mean, I don't like the thoughts of, Jamie, I think goalies are going to be a huge factor. And, if you look at, they got 3 there.
I know.
They got 3, not 1, not 2, not 3. You can run the old guy in Lundqvist. You can run Shesterkin. You can run Grigoriev.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a really, really tough matchup. The second one's an individual thing, guys, and that's Alexander Ovechkin. 48 goals. And the reason I say when they went to the 24-team format is they've determined that the remaining goals, points, whatever, aren't going to count on any sort of scoreboard anywhere they show up. So, at the start of the year when I was asked if he'd catch Gretz, I said, there's no way, because at 34 years old, you start to drop off. You just do. And he hasn't. And now all of a sudden he's only 188 behind. So where every goal would be a big factor, he being at 48 and 188, I think, has reason to say, wow, that's
he really needs every game. And now next year will be more condensed, and he's a year older. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good one.
Right. My third one is the Leafs. I don't think this is a good matchup for the Leafs. It's an 8-9 matchup, but I'm not sure you could get a more anti-Leaf situation than Columbus. And believe me, they've got a coach that will play that to the max. I mean, they will drive that to the max. There's no question about it. And, Torts did it last year with Tampa Bay, and he played every trump card he had. Then they lose all the guys. And, Jamie, I did 3 or 4 games with Columbus this year. Man, they're hard to play against. They just aren't. And sometimes you got to look at the lineup and say, who is that?
Yeah.
Who's Andrew Peeke? Like Seth Jones isn't there. Who's Andrew Peeke? And but they just keep coming up with guys. And I think that's really a tough matchup for them, because they can play the market. They can play the star power. They can play every single thing. And Torts will maximize that.
Okay, that's an interesting one, because the Leafs, Dubas said yesterday they felt, based on the probability and the numbers, pretty comfortable they would be in top 16. But if they were, they'd be playing Tampa. I'll take Columbus over Tampa, but the way they're structured, you make a very valid point, Pooley. And if they lose that, they'll take even more heat, because they're supposed to beat Columbus. They weren't supposed to necessarily beat Boston or Tampa or whatever. All right, I got creative on a few of these. Number one, the people that deserve to be most rattled with this 2014 playoff format, the haters of Stan Bowman and Mark Bergevin are number one. Because Stan Bowman, the GM in Chicago, he has so much heat on him in that market. Like, people have turned on him because Quenneville's gone, because the team has fallen off the past few years, because really it doesn't look like they have much of a plan going forward. But now they're a playoff team. Playoff, play-in, whatever you want to call it, they're in. He's not going anywhere. Bergevin, the same thing in Montreal. Like, he has so much heat on him all the time about not finding a number one center, about, a number of things that have happened over the course of his run in Montreal, and now they're in. Like, I don't think he was maybe going anywhere anyway, but now they're in. What if they win a couple rounds? All of a sudden, he's going to feel pretty good about his plan. So I think the people that have turned on Stan Bowman and Marc Bergevin, the GM in Chicago and Montreal, they're looking at this saying, really? Like, now I can't yell and scream that they missed because technically they're in. Yeah. Number two, I've got Edmonton for a couple of reasons. One, they were a lock. They were getting in. And they were rolling. They felt good about their game. And now they got to play a team in Chicago who's battle-tested. But more so, they were real close to being a top 4 seed. They have more points than Dallas. Just Dallas had games in hand, so they squeaked past them. Edmonton should probably be thinking, forget the play-in. We should be a top 4. Yeah, like, you give us one more game, we should have a bye right to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, that's a great
So
point.
I think Edmonton deserves to be really rattled with this. And number 3, again, I went off the board. I'm going to go Jack Eichel because he still has not played a playoff game, and now they expand the playoff seeding, and they stop right before him. Like
3 points short or
3 points short, and they had 2 games in hand.
Yeah,
they could have caught Montreal, right? Yeah. They win one more. They win the next game, and I think they would have leapfrogged them based on points percentage. Yeah. That close to Jack Eichel finally saying, I'm relevant, the team is relevant, we're in the dance. And now I guess he spoke today down in Buffalo, and he's like, I don't know what to tell you guys anymore. Like, we don't win anything. I'm sick and tired of it. He's clearly not happy with the whole operation. And I would be pissed if I was Eichel.
Shout out to Matthews, too. He's short 50, right?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. He would have got there. He would have been the 4th Leaf in history to hit 50. Yeah. There's a lot of them that you can
I know. I just
point to.
Figured I'd shout him out here.
No, for sure. Matthews, for sure. And Boston, like, I knew you were going there, so I let you have that one too, Noodles. Yeah. But they deserve to be rattled for sure.
But you know what? I think they're going to be fine. I think Cassidy will play that card too, and that's a savvy crew in that locker room. They'll find a way to use that.